Hello, my name is Erin Andrews and I want to talk about my apartment energy audit that I performed. Basically what happened was I measured the electricity usage of 8 appliances frequently used in my apartment. To give some background and a better understanding of the amount of energy I use, I thought I would start with how much energy is used in the larger U.S. grid. As we learned in lecture, Minnesota falls into the Eastern Interconnection Grid. This grid, as well as the Western and Texas interconnections, tie the area it encompasses together and make sure normal electrical operations occur at synchronized frequencies. The Eastern Interconnection stretches from central Canada all the way down to the South Florida. It also covers out east to Atlantic coast and all the way west towards the Rockies. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation quantified the amount of energy consumed by the Eastern Connection in 2008. Now, the data presented in this chart is in gigawatts, which is equal to 1 billion watts. In 2008, when adding both the Canadian and the U.S. portions, about 550 to 650 gigawatts of total electrical energy was consumed. The variation comes from the different times of the season, as you can see on the chart. They predicted that this amount of energy would go up to 640 to 740 gigawatts of electrical energy used in 2017. In Minnesota, we can see that the state itself is broken into different grids. We'll go into the specific grid that holds Minneapolis in a minute, but first we're going to look at how much energy is used by an average Minnesotan. A study done by U.S. Energy Information Administration looked at all 50 states to determine the average household electrical energy usage. What they found in Minnesota is that about 2.4 million households use $92.32 of electrical energy, or about 763 kilowatt hours. This is actually well below the average for all 50 states at about 901 kilowatt hours. Now that we have perspective of the entire U.S. and Minnesota, I want to zoom in on my apartment. I live at Stadium View Apartments, which is right next to campus. I live with 3 girls, so 4 roommates in total, in a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment. The interesting part about Stadium View is they actually do not make you pay utilities like electricity. However, my previous apartments did. We paid an average of about $40 to $70 in our electricity bill, which is about 350 to 610 kilowatt hours. An average Minneapolis resident pays about $90, meaning they are using about 780 kilowatt hours of electricity. This is pretty similar to that of a normal Minnesotan resident. A goal for my apartment, which will hopefully get direction after doing this project, is to reduce the amount of electrical energy we are using to about 440 kilowatt hours of electricity, which would correlate to a little over $50. So what I did for this project was use a kilowatt meter, which I am holding in the right, to measure the amount of watts of energy used by each of my 8 appliances. These can be viewed on the left. Most of these appliances only used energy when they were plugged in and turned on. This means that I would plug them into the meter for a length of time the appliance was being used each day to determine the watts it was using. However, the refrigerator was always on, so it used a variable amount of energy throughout the day. I plugged it into the meter for a full 24 hours to determine the total watts it used in the day. The microwave uses phantom energy when it is not turned on. I also plugged this in for 24 hours to determine the amount of energy it used when it was just sitting there. The amount of energy used when it was heating things up was also determined using the meter. For the other 6 appliances, I kept track of how long each item was in use for. As you can see, the plot looks a little skewed because of the lamp and the television. The lamp, which is by our kitchen table, is pretty much on the entire time one of us is at home and awake, so about 3 to 5 hours a day. The television was also used for lengthy parts of each day. If we exclude the lamp and the television, then the plot looks like this. As you can see, the next most used item is the toaster oven and then the coffee maker. However, all of these items presented I use for less than an hour a day. Now that we have an average length of time and watts used in this time, we can make estimates about monthly usage. As expected, the refrigerator and microwave use the most daily energy at 11 and 2 kilowatt hours respectively. The toaster oven and coffee maker use a considerable amount of energy, above 1,500 watts, for the short period of time they are on, meaning they are the 3rd and 4th largest energy consumers that I measured. The total predicted energy for my apartment used from these appliances for the month is about 395 kilowatt hours, so about $44. This mostly comes from the refrigerator and microwave, but the smaller appliances do add up. This is on track with the lower end of our normal monthly bill in previous apartment. This seems like a good estimate to show that we are on track to save energy as an apartment, but I was unable to measure other larger appliances that may add cost and energy. These future measurements of larger appliances would be things like dishwashers and washer dryers. We would also want to measure overhead lights because we use those frequently as well. Gaming system and DVD players, as well as phone chargers, may only add small amounts of energy used, but they are used quite frequently. This would add up quickly and can make us start spending more money than we would like.